Next up, we have Kevin Ford. Kevin, come down to the front of the Outlier stage. Kevin is a senior manager of business intelligence at Discover, where he designs interactive visuals and data environments for the credit management, marketing, operations, and finance departments. He has 9 years experience in data viz and 20 plus years experience in business intelligence, largely in financial services. He is also the co-leader of both the Data Viz Society's Chicago affiliate and Chicago's Tableau user group. So if you're here in Chicago and don't know Kevin, come talk to him about ways you can stay connected to the community beyond the Outlier conference.
Booth 5.
Booth 5. Come check it out. Kevin, the floor is yours.
Thank you. And actually, you gave me time back because I don't have to say a bunch of those things. First off, visual shout out to my family. And since I am the local chapter co-leader, very big welcome to Chicago. Let me and some of the other Chicago folks know if you got any questions. Huge shout out to the Discover Credit Management Business Intelligence team. Come on, whoop it up, whoop it up. Yeah, there you go. And then a big shout out to the Elevate community. I know this is not an Elevate conference, but there's a large swath of us both here and online. And you'll hear me talk a couple instances about that. So what's my talk based on? Like most of us getting into data viz, like you will learn the tool, you'll start having this kind of questions we're starting to have in some of these talks. You'll get to blog posts, right? Blog posts, conference talks, kind of like the ones we're hearing now. And you're learning the design process, right? How does the project work from end to end? I started 9 years ago, and it's all been corporate business intelligence. I'm at Discover Financial. And kind of refined what I learned from blog posts to make it more applicable inside of corporate. And I've had a lot of interns and new people joining the team. So I've kind of refined my own the design process. But the last one was I've been a mentor with Data Viz Society since the mentorship program started. And this was the theme that kept coming back as one of the most valuable things that I was passing on. So I decided to turn it into a talk, and I call it the solution framework. So let's start with like the before, right? The before shot. This is me as a beginner making one of my very early data vizzes. It's still on Tableau Public. It's very embarrassing, right? So, what's my approach? Get the data, put it in a viz. I have solar panels on my house, which is actually a little bit rare in the Chicago area. And I made a viz that answered the following 3 questions, right? What's the total energy my house has produced in 5 years? What is that energy by month? So you can actually see the seasonality, right? We make more in the summer, less in the winter. And then since I got 5 years of data, right, I actually put that variability on the viz. So you can actually see, right, year to year, it actually goes up and down. Now, I was really proud of this, like most of us in our infancy. And I went to a community, which is people interested in solar panels on their house. Not data viz people, not data people, just interested in solar panels on their house. And I failed because these were their questions. Does this cover all your electricity? Will this also cover an electric car? What happens when you make too much? Is there enough sun this far north in North America to make this work? And when will you break even, right? My viz did not answer any of their questions. So the solution framework, right, that I kind of pass on to people, it fully recognizes what I did is legit, and probably most of us do that. There's an execution phase of your project, which is get the data and put it into a data viz, and then at the end you have get some feedback from the people you're making it for. But what you don't realize when you get started is how much the planning section is huge, right? You need to understand the problem. Right? There's a sketching phase and a wireframing phase, but you're actually planning before you actually do the execution. And the first 2 are the only 2 I'm going to have time to really talk about. You're going to understand the problem by figuring out who's the audience. Then you're going to go to the audience and ask them what their questions are, trying to understand their problem. When you get to the sketching phase, most people like sketch and love their iPads and love their Apple Pencils, but you're classically, when you start, you're thinking you're sketching the data viz, right? The section 5 of what you're doing. You actually want to sketch ideas of ways to answer their question because you want to go back and you actually want to test your assumptions of what you heard them say, but also their assumptions of what they think their problem is. And it's in that back and forth where you truly get to a real problem, and then your data viz is actually going to focus on something valuable for them. I wish I had time for the rest of it, but that's the final slide if anybody needs the screenshot for it. So 3 quick kind of stories. that to kind of illustrate this. The first one is I have a really good friend, Gordon, who's here volunteering. He's part of Elevate. He's in the back. Nice to see you. And we had this conversation about solution framework. He found this sort of early phase to be very valuable. He shared back with me that he was in an interview with a professor from Yale. He's actually trying to freelance and get a contract with them. They have a data viz idea. They're looking for a practitioner. But in that interview, it was actually using kind of like, well, who is this for? What are we trying to accomplish? Why do you need this data about the environment to actually get in this space? What call to action are you going for? And she was very impressed with like this line of questioning, and he's signing the contract this week, right? Yep. Okay. Number two, I have a friend and a partner collaborator in Bulgaria named Victor. We were working on a Viz for Social Good project. Viz for Social Good people. Yeah. And he was also asking me, you keep preaching this, solution framework. He's like, okay, fine. I'll do the sketches, and then we'll take it to Viz for Social Good. Let me see if this is a true thing. So he sketches audience 1, which seemed very obvious, and audience 2. He just got a little cheeky. In the lower left-hand corner of his sketching, he actually put people who donate to Viz for Social Good could possibly be an audience to a data viz I make. And when he put that sketch into Slack, Frederick, like almost in a painful chuckle, is like, yeah, we really need more funders. And that started us on a complete 180 in a different direction, talking to the funding director, Sarah, and well, what do you need? I need an infographic to actually get funders excited about giving us free money so we can actually pay the Zoom bills. 100% different project than what we originally thought. Our assumptions were completely wrong. The last one, right, just to at least tap into what I've got from Discover, we had a senior vice president in marketing executive, a jerk. And there was a report without a lot of data visualization. And, there was a request, can you please make a data visualization, a dashboard that actually gets it? And there was this weird, awkward, right? Sketch number 1, no, it's not working. Sketch number 2, no, it's not working. Oh, okay. Can you please tell me what's going on? Like, why am I not getting what you guys need? And I finally got a director to go, okay, this is what happens, right? The report comes out. Yesterday is a number that's bad. This senior vice president calls his 5 VPs like a tyrant, like, who's ruining my number? And then there's an army of people who drop everything in acquisition at Discover, analyzing their brains out, trying to figure out what went wrong. So we changed the entire point of the dashboard. Is 1, was yesterday the bad day? Yes or no? 2, is it VP1, VP2, VP3? Right? Obviously, I hid the names, right, to hide the innocent type of a thing. But we bundled it in such a way where it was obvious you do not need to call 4 VPs. You just need to call 1 VP. And the end of the dashboard is, and here's the preliminary analysis, that VP needs to defend themselves when that tyrant actually calls them. Everybody knows the story without anybody dropping anything or pulling any data because they actually did so much work in the planning process. So I got a bunch of stuff on here, but I think I'm out of time. I just like the last quote, and I got it from LinkedIn, and I really wish I caught the name. Solutions themselves do not have any value. The problems have the value trapped in them. You have to come up with the right solution to get that value out of the problem. Thank you.
Great. This makes me think of the design double diamond from UX research and exploring and thinking big on problems first, then digging into solutions. We've got time for maybe one question. Do we have a question either online or a question from the audience? Do you all need more time to read Kevin's slides with all the extra insight on them? All right. Well, I hope that we have. Did we see someone raise a hand? Okay.
I was going to say,
come meet Kevin at the booth. I love it, and I do love anything that brings us back to that kind of question of ideating on problems, not just solutions, because getting the problem right does matter a lot.